What is up, guys? We are back with another episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding, presented by Mountain Vibes and recorded here at the Ski Shack in northern Idaho, Hayden, Idaho. And today we have Joshua Nishimoto. Josh, how we doing?
So good, my dude.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Good.
You know, you love to hear that. Josh is a amazing snowboarder. Really anything that you go on sideways, Josh can do. Great skater, wake skate, wakeboarding, wake surfing, does it all. And little backstory, Josh and I met almost 6 years ago. One of the first days I was actually up at Schweitzer Mountain and starting, teaching snowboarding up there. Josh was out there on the good old, what was it you were rocking that day? I can't remember. It was was it a snow skate?
Maybe. I definitely rock the snow skate when I can. I think I was on a smoking, just butter board that I bought off of Dash Camp for $125.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like a new place for me. I'd never been to Schweitzer before. So dude, let's talk about kind of how you grew up. Where'd you initially grow up at?
So born and raised in Southern California, and pretty much just started skateboarding as soon as I could. I think it was 9 or 10.
Okay.
And then, man, I just tried to surf 3 years later, and I learned to surf Huntington Beach area.
Okay.
And so totally just had surf skate background, but dude, I had always dreamed about snowboarding. Even before I even knew what snowboarding really was, I just dreamt about it.
Yeah, dude. So you said Southern California, Thousand Oaks, right?
No,
okay.
I was born and raised in the city of Orange, in Orange County.
Okay.
So as Orange County, California as you can get, man.
Yeah.
And then family just started moving further and further south. And then I really grew up in Lake Forest, California.
Lake Forest. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome to hear, is because, as you know, Mountain Vibes is based out of Orange County. Justin's down there, Emily's down there, and that's cool that you grew up there. So you grew up down there, and then at how old were you when you moved up here, to Sandpoint?
Dude, I moved to Sandpoint when I was 16 years old. Okay. And then just total culture shock, right? One horse town. I think I could still buy a can of Coke for 25 cents at Dirty Harry's, which was the grocery store downtown.
Okay.
And they also had a really cheap theater, and we used to call it Dirty Harry's Theater because it was right next to Harold's Grocery.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hold on. Let's pause real quick, and let's get the mic a little closer.
A little closer to my face.
Yeah.
How about right?
Some echo, and then I have an idea. Let's do...
Oh, dang. A little intimate.
I like it. Right there. That should be good.
All right.
Because those are... that's a condenser mic, and this is a dynamic mic, so it's just a little different.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. So let's listen. Go ahead and talk in real quick.
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
Nice.
1, 2, 3.
There, yeah, right into the mic, yeah.
Dope.
As close as you can get.
I can get really close.
Sweet. All right, cool. So back to it in 3, 2, 1. Sweet. Oh yeah. So you were talking about Dirty Harry's.
Yeah, dude. Dirty Harry's was the spot for anything quick and fried, or just something cheap to eat. And then that theater was super cheap before it closed down.
Nice, dude. Nice. So let's so your parents, did they meet down in Southern California? What's the kind of the backstory? I've never really asked you how your parents met and everything like that. Yeah,
my mom and dad met from youth group. I think my dad was super Christian guy, but star athlete. My dad was captain of the football team, but also played the trumpet in the band.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is true, but rumor has it he would play football, and then halftime he'd have to go in the marching band and like play the trumpet or whatever, and then get dressed up and go play. He was like the quarterback.
Okay.
He was like captain of the football team.
Dang.
And then my mom was like total like Fullerton, like Orange County girl, and like kind of like lived by Anaheim, like in Anaheim, California, like by Disneyland. And then eventually my dad was all over in different like youth groups and stuff. And then my mom also was in a different youth group, but then eventually they like got together from like some camp or something.
Wow. That's awesome. How old were they when they met? God,
I think they were, you know, teenagers. I think they were like 16, 17. And then maybe my dad's a couple of years older than my mom. So yeah, they eventually like got married like a few years after, and then I came along pretty shortly after that too.
So the last name Nishimoto, is that Japanese origin?
Yeah, Japanese origin. It means like from the northern mountains.
Okay, that's all right. Well, now we know why you snowboard. It's in your blood.
It was,
man.
Dude. It was meant to be.
Yeah. And so your dad is Japanese?
Yeah, he's half
Japanese,
and I'm a quarter.
Was he born in the United States, or did he
born in the United States. His dad is an immigrant from Japan.
Very cool.
Full-blooded Japanese man.
Nice.
Basically had to like scrimp and save every bit to like come to America off the boat, and then like had to also like work as soon as he got here, like a very early age, probably like 15, 16 years old, to get his family to come over, the rest of his family to come over to afford that, you know? And then my mom's half Native American. So
what tribe?
Sioux from Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
So then my mom's mom like definitely was adopted into a family, and then eventually just fully moved to California and met my grandpa, and they got married, and it's all history now. Yeah,
definitely, dude. So you were talking about the culture shock coming from California up here, and we all know that this area has grown a lot in recent years. But when you're 16 years old, that's what, almost 20 years ago. Was it kind of crazy? Is it crazy to see the growth from back then until now up here in this area? Like when you moved up here, it probably was super sleepy, even more sleepy, quiet town in Sandpoint.
Yeah, dude, it was culture shock. I loved every minute of it, because I felt like when I moved here, I got to like reinvent myself, because I could be like me and not feel like I had to like be someone else for my California friends, you know? Like I don't know, I grew up feeling like I had, not that I did, but it was just like, I'm this way, right? Growing up one way. And then when I come here, I was like, I don't have to be like this way. I can just be me and not really feel like pressured to like do the best thing or be, the best at this or that. Or like, there was just like a keeping up with the Joneses vibe down in California that I just didn't have to deal with anymore. I could be like, hey man, this is me and that's it. Like love it or leave it,
No doubt, dude. Did you start snowboarding down in Southern California?
So I learned how to snowboard at Big Bear Mountain.
Oh, okay.
So Big Bear was like 2 hours from my house when I was growing up in Southern California. And by the time I was 13, my parents were finally like, okay, cool. Like we can like try snowboarding if you want to. And I was like, yes. Like because I was begging for it for like years after I learned to skateboard. And then I was like, oh, sweet. I finally get to do this. My cousin came up, my cousin Kirk, and he and I both, because my parents bought a cabin in like Big Bear. And then finally I was like, all right, now's the time. And I first started out kind of just playing around with the Kmart board, just in the front lawn of the cabin that my parents bought. And then I was like, oh, like you have to have a hill to like snowboard. Because I was just thinking like, how do I skateboard on this snowboard?
Yeah, I remember. I have fond memories of like, that's kind of how I started out. I started out skating and then in, you know, Southwest Oregon, Cape Junction. And it was so cool at that time. It was like skating was kind of taken off in that town. It was a tiny, tiny town. And we actually got a skate park, and then we had a skate park with wooden ramps and quarter pipes and stuff. And then they put sheet metal on top of the wood to like make it a little better. So, I mean, that was like my introduction. Then my mom really was the reason why I started snowboarding. I was like, what, how can I like skate in the winter, you know? So she took me to Mount Ashland, and the rest is history after that. So like, that's cool. Like, I remember I used to always like try like my first skate tricks, like ollies and kickflips. I would try them on like the grass in my front yard.
Oh,
as like
totally.
a yeah, just to like kind of try and get it down. But yeah, dude, skating back in the day was so much fun.
So yeah, I just have the skateboarding background, and then I was like, oh man, how do I take this to snowboarding? And then we had our first lesson at Big Bear, some cute blonde girl who probably knew very little about snowboarding, but knew enough to be like, this is how you turn. And we'd be like, all right. So then we'd go, and I don't even remember if I was good or if I was bad or what. I just remember having like the best time of my life learning to snowboard, taking a lesson with my cousin, and just being like, this is great. And then eventually like the hour was up and she left. You know, Mackenzie or whatever her name was. And then and then we just kind of were like left to our own devices, and it was super fun still. That was not the first time I was on snow though. I was actually, the first time I was on snow was my grandparents had a cabin or like a condo in Mammoth.
Oh, okay.
Mammoth Mountain. So we would go up there in the summer a lot, or like the spring, and just hang out and go hiking and fishing and stuff. But one year we got to go there during the winter. I was 4 years old, and they like strapped skis on me, and I remember I just wanted poles. I was like, I want those poles. and now it's so funny because it's like I don't care about poles at all.
No.
Even with skis on, like if you were to go skiing, I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't need poles. But it's just so funny. And then so my mom would like drag me up the hill, and then or no, my dad would drag me up the hill, and then my mom would like catch me at the bottom. So that was like the first time I ever like went skiing.
That's sick, dude.
When I was 4.
That's awesome. Wow, man, that's cool to be like. And you back when we were kind of learning, like we're the same age, really. I think you're like maybe less than almost a year older than me, but
yeah. Who's counting?
Right? Yeah, it doesn't matter when you're snowboarding.
No.
Like age doesn't.
No,
it doesn't matter. But yeah, dude, like to come from that area down there back when it was kind of a little bit less, I mean, it still was known, you know, Big Bear's always been known, but now it's just like you see videos coming out of like Big Bear and Mammoth and stuff, and it's just always packed, and
it's
everyone has moved, and
it's blowing up, man. And then I remember hearing a story, a friend of mine who tried to go snowboarding at Big Bear, and they drove around the parking lot for about an hour, couldn't find a spot, and they drove 2 hours back to like Lake Forest.
Dang, dude.
And I was like, that would never happen on my home mountain ever at Schweitzer or anywhere around here. Like you can always get a spot, but the early bird does get the worm, man. So if you want it, you got to get up early and go get it.
No doubt. And like we're here at the Ski Shack, and we just released, you know, Ren's episode, manager here, family owned. And he talks about it in his episode. He's like, it's kind of crazy now. Like, you know, if you go midweek to Schweitzer, you probably have at least 200 like locals on a powder day just trying to get there to get the first turns. But if you go to like Silver or something, it's like maybe 30. And so he's like, it's just a cool area to be up here where you can pick and choose like where you want to go certain days, and the crowds are going to be less. But he said that when he was growing up at Schweitzer, like you wouldn't see hardly anybody in a powder day. It was like Silver, like maybe 20 people in line back in the day. And
sure.
But, you know, as I've said before, like Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint, like they're the like Lake Tahoe / like Bend, you know, kind of vibes.
So
like,
true.
This is the next one to pop off, I feel like, and it's been happening.
Gosh.
Yeah,
things are changing so fast. I think you asked me a question about like how it used to be to where it is now. Like growth is huge right now.
Right. Yeah, and it's I find it cool. I love to see the growth as long as like the integrity of the area is still upheld and stuff. Like, hopefully it creates more jobs for people up here, and people can afford to live here that have lived here instead of, you know, Actually, I just saw something in the paper, dude, the local paper, where the city council makes it a lot harder for people who want to use their homes for Airbnbs. They're taxing them out now because they don't want that. They want actual like families moving here and staying here and putting back into the community, which is a good thing.
You gotta love seeing that because as a newly homeowner here,
that's right.
I feel the same way, dude.
Congratulations, Josh just bought a house not too long ago. Yep. Super awesome. I bought a house back in October, so you know, dude, we're both homeowners now. Lots of work to do. You're talking about staining your fence,
sealing,
trying to keep it in
the
good
fence, man.
Make it look nice.
I got to do that.
Yep. He's as soon as this is over, I'm
gonna go do
home.
that.
We'll see how hot it is today, but
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy to see, you know, everyone kind of growing up. You know, we have friends that are getting married right now and
having babies.
I have 2 kids. Like, it's just kind of gnarly, but we still, that's what I like though, dude, is like our generation, we kind of waited a little bit longer for all the things that we did. We did what we wanted to do, but we're still going to be those people that we were. Like, we're snowboarders. You know, I took my daughter last year to go up for the mountain for the first time, loves it. Like, that's
so cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I hope to have kids someday and like be able to take my kids to the, you know, mountain.
Yeah, and do all those fun trips with them.
Totally.
And like, yeah, it's cool. But so yeah, dude, you came up to, so let's talk about Sandpoint.
Yeah. Let's talk about Sandpoint.
When you moved to Sandpoint, did your parents find a place like in town, or were you guys out in the country?
Yeah, we were in town. My parents, obviously, you know, California suburban nights, right? Like, we were in the foothills, like near the foothills in Southern California. We were 20 minutes from the beach, 2 hours from the mountain. Like, it's where you want to be, right, at that time. But then my dad was like, I can't deal with the smog anymore. I can't deal with keeping up with the Joneses anymore. We got to get out of here. And we're like, oh, dang, like, really? He's like, yeah. And so, like, he started searching, and he found this little spot in Sandpoint. Never heard of it before. Idaho, Iowa, like, what is this? Like, didn't even know about it at all. And yeah, he picked it. We flew up there and like for a couple days and just checked it out. And he was like looking at this job in like the fitness industry. You know, he sold ellipticals and treadmills for like forever as a salesman, and was really in that industry. He used to own like a Gold's Gym at one point, which was dope. So my family's always been into like fitness and like health. And yeah, so then we checked this out and we're like, dude, this is cool. Like, even the church we went to was cool. Like, everything was cool about where we were going. Like, shout out to Cedar Hills Church. It's dope. And then we would just like go there, and then I was like, oh man, there's like City Beach, and then there's like the mountain, and then I was like, this is just like a tiny California up there. You got the ocean, you got the mountain, now I've got the lake and I've got the mountain. And I was like, oh, I could just feel this out and do like some really fun stuff up here.
Right. Dude, yeah, and you know, let's talk about, like, do you remember like the first time you like kind of went over the Long Bridge?
Yeah, it just like opens up and it's this just panoramic view of gorgeous God's green earth, like just amazingness, right? And you're like so overwhelmed by the beauty, you almost tear up a little bit. You're like, dude, this is unreal. Like, I didn't even know these places like existed on planet Earth like this, you know? And I think Sandpoint is just such a gem, and it's a little there's some pros and cons to the way it's growing right now, but overall I see nothing but like positives for me and my family, and like working up there as a snowboard instructor is just unreal. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, let's talk. So Schweitzer, how long before you and your family made it up to Schweitzer for the first time?
So it was like that summer. When we moved there in 2000, I want to say it was 2003. So summer 2003, that's when my family and I moved up to Sandpoint. So I got to experience, I was on swim team at Sandpoint High School.
Cool.
And my buddy Paul lived down the street from us. So we lived in like the end of division on the riverside. And so the river was literally like 5 houses down from me. So then I had the river right there. And my friend Paul, his parents live on the river in a cul-de-sac on the other end of like that the beginning and opening of that road. And so I would go down and like just see the access to the beach was right next to their like private access.
Okay.
And so he had the dock and he had the beach right there. And then I was just hanging down there and met him, and it turned out he was on the swim team too. And so like I was supposed to schedule to be like swimming the next day after I moved there.
Yeah.
And so I woke up at 5 a.m. to like go to 5:45 a.m. practice. And then he was there and we went swimming. And then he was like, oh yeah, I got a boat and we go wakeboarding. And I was like, what? Can I go with you? He's like, yeah, dude, come wakeboarding with me. So like every day for the rest of that summer, I would swim and go wakeboarding with my buddy Paul. And then we would talk about snowboarding, and then he would be like, yeah, like Schweitzer's the best. You're going to love it. Like, come on up and go snowboarding with me this winter. And I was like, heck yeah, dude. So, and passes were super cheap for kids back then, like, you know, my age, teens and stuff. And so I would get a pass. I got like some really cheap, what was it? It was a ride board from Play It Again Sports down in California.
Okay.
So I had that board. I had some Drake bindings.
Okay.
And like I had like the stiffest, like worst setup for me at the time, but I was like, I don't care, dude. I love it.
That's how boards were back then.
Dude, back when I was surfing, I'd get like boards that my dad found at the trash can. He'd be like, dude, check it out. It's got a hole in it and there's a little bit of water in there. There's only one skag, but you can make it work. And I was like, sick. Yeah, I'm gonna go surf. So I surfed on that board all the time. And then I had like this junky snowboard setup that was the best because it was what I had. And I was like, I'm going for it, dude. I don't care. And then so first day of Schweitzer, it was like opening day. And my buddy Paul brought me up and he took me to the top. And he's just like, all right, go for it. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't think I'd ever been on a black diamond before. I didn't know what to do really. I just was like, skateboarding. How is this like skateboarding? Let's convert that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, that's crazy. And that's how it goes for most people.
Yeah, man.
The first time in a mountain, like, all right, I'll take you to the top. You figure out how to go down. You'll be all right.
Dude, and I would like fall here and there, but like nothing that would keep me from like continuing. I'd just be like, sick.
Yeah.
I did it. And I'm going to keep doing it because it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, you know, you go up there for the first time. How long before you kind of started working at the mountain, and what did you start off teaching at ski school, or did you do other things first?
No, dude, like I didn't work at Schweitzer for many, many years. Like I didn't even think of that in like the realm of possibility that I could work there. I just thought like I go there to like go up the lift and go down, like, and then a couple days, I think before college, like right around when I was like 17, we had some of the best powder I'd ever ridden in my life. And I didn't even know how to ride powder. So I was just riding like, I've only ridden like slush essentially for like majority of the times I went snowboarding. I probably went snowboarding 4 or 5 times before I moved to Sandpoint and went to Schweitzer. And so it was just free refills all day. I closed that place down. Last chair. So I think we got first chair up, last chair down. And then I was still going. My friends were gone. And I was still hitting the park doing like 180s and front 3 indie grabs and just like learning how to like do everything. And like, I don't even remember when I learned how to do 360s, but it was probably around 17, 18 when I was doing them on a skateboard, because I learned how to do ollie 360s on a skateboard before I learned how to do them on a snowboard. Yeah. And then I was like, dope. Like I can take all this stuff to the mountain now, right? So like 17, 18, I was doing that. And then, so that was my senior year of high school, man. And we would just go. And I just remember the freedom and the love I had for snowboarding before I even snowboarded. I just took that to the mountain and kept it going.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, dude. Man, that's so cool to hear.
And then one more thing, because Paul, my buddy, had a boat and he kept it like inside the garage, which was heated, we could use it all year long. So we had wetsuits. Okay. And so we did the whole like the, you know, triumph God, I can't even say it, but like the snowboarding, skateboarding, and wakeboarding, the triple threat, like in one day. Yeah. So we got to go skateboarding a little bit. We got the boat in the water. We broke the ice to get the boat into the water. And then we got the boat in the water. We went wakeboarding. His mom's a doctor, so she's like, "You've got like 5 minutes before hypothermia sets in. You got to come back in the boat." So we would just come back in the boat. And then that night we built up a jump on Schweitzer on like Midway. And then we would hike to it and then built the jump. And then we would just hit it all night. Dude. And that was my high school, like, career as a snowboarder, was just like learning all this stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. And that's the most fun, honestly. You know, like you know the days that we've had where we're just like, okay, it's a spring fun day, let's go like build something. We're not even gonna like run the lift at all. We're just gonna go build this jump and session it. And it's just, there's just so many different things to do in snowboarding now that like you can pick and choose depending on conditions and have a great day every single day, even if it's brick out. Like, go carve the groomers, dude.
I think the funnest day I've ever had at Schweitzer was when it was raining in the village and it was snowing on top. Yeah. Triple. All day.
All day.
All day. Powder. All day. Everyone's like bummed. They're like, "Oh, it's not good." You're like, dude, this is fantastic.
Just go up a little bit. Just go up. Yeah. Like, because, and if, you know, for those who, if you haven't been to Schweitzer, basically at the village, there's 2 chairs that are at the village that will take you to the top. One takes you all the way to the top, which is the Great Escape, and takes you up to the sky house on the ridge of the mountain. The other is the Basin Express. And the Basin Express is basically the park access quad. And so all the parks are off the Basin Express and some other cool terrain. But at Schweitzer, many times, the upper half of the mountain. And so the Basin Express only takes you about mid-mountain. Then you can pop off and literally less than like 30 seconds off to the left is the
triple,
the Lakeview Triple.
Lakeview Triple.
And the Lakeview Triple has some of the sickest terrain, and especially if it's crappy down low and it's like that mid layer, like it's snowing up top, like Josh was saying. Like, you could go there on even like a weekend and no one's over there. And you can go hit the Resi run, go out of bounds real quick, pop back in, like doing all those fun things. Like, not out of bounds, there's a gate that's open or not open, and you can still kind of be inbounds on Resi, but no one's hanging out. And there's unlimited terrain, and it's awesome. And I hate to hear it when people are like, "Oh, it's all chopped up, it's no good." I'm like, dude, just go explore and you'll find good snow.
Totally. And that's the thing too, is like, some people's worst day on the mountain is my best day on the mountain. Yeah. And that's when you know you're like,
well, I remember a few years ago, you and I were working one day, and it was 80, 90 mile per hour winds, and it was like negative 50 with the wind chill. And it was still when the bunny hill on the musical chairs had the little mini park. Yep. And so we went and hiked the mini park. Dude. And we got warm quick, and we were just hitting the boxes and shit, fucking around. It was so much fun.
So fun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, also snow skating, right?
Right.
Snow skating was like option. So big when I was 18. I thought I was going to go like pro snow skating. Never happened, and I don't foresee it ever happening, but so much fun. Just like me and my buddies would go, and Schweitzer even had like a mini snow skate park at one point because it was so popular, and we just sessioned that all night, and then would like go down in town and just like session all the things you couldn't skateboard during the summertime because it was just like grass, or like, this is just not skatable terrain. But then you get the snow and you're like, everyth's open. Like, this is a magical world.
Right. Man, dude, that's cool. So we were saying, you know, your high school was kind of this way, building jumps down at the water up at Schweitzer, and then so you went to the University of Idaho, right?
Yeah.
Immediately after high school?
Straight after high school. Did U of I for 4 years straight. Took my same mentality of like, I'm going to make this the best. Like, maybe it's not my favorite place to be sometimes, but I'm going to like find fun things to do that maybe doesn't necessarily have to revolve around alcohol. Not that I didn't drink back then, totally did. But I still would go have like the funnest time with people, just sledding at like 4 a.m. before finals, or like, and just taking my snow skate out there. Shout out to Peter Van Wee for keeping me snow skating all year long, like all winter long during like getting stuck in Moscow. But
golf course.
Dude, golf course. We would do golf course. We would do this hill. I was right by the dorms, and we would just like push over a shopping cart and just pop ollies off onto that shopping cart. And then we would like spring load you off of it, like a kicker ramp.
Yeah.
So you could slide it and pop and do like spins and flips off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I saw the craziest thing I've ever seen is Peter Van Wee board slide hard flip off a shopping cart. Craziest thing I've ever seen on a snow skate in person. And it was like, dude, unreal. So whether I was skateboarding or snow skating, I was always having a good time in college.
Yeah.
My college was not the typical college experience by any means.
Yeah. Yeah. In Moscow, I mean, Moscow is a very, very, very cool college town.
Dude, like the quintessential college experience for anyone in this area has got to be U of I, because it is like a sleepy college town that would not exist without the college, right? And dude, I've spent many years living down there and doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's definitely a smaller college, which is like, oh, it's the University of Idaho. It's probably pretty big. Like, no, it's still a small, cozy little college. Like, it's really cool, beautiful, like rolling hills, the Palouse.
Yeah, dude,
right next to hills. Washington State. Like,
it's all about the hills, man.
I know, man. It's beautiful down there. Like, I remember going down there a while ago because it was back when the Oregon Ducks were playing Washington State. So we went down there, hung out. Actually, you and my friend Luke, I think I've told you this before, went to college right around the same time.
Oh, no, I don't know if I ever heard this. Maybe I have. I don't remember.
So Luke Nicodemus, super cool guy. He graduated, and then he kind of ran the golf course management. He was like second in command of that for a long time. He's PGA professional, has run country clubs, the Broadmoor and stuff all over in Colorado Springs, all this stuff. And then he actually went to law school and still was like involved in the program while going to law school. Graduated law school last year, and now is down in Boise. But he always is like, dude, I was so happy that I went to school there. Like, one of the greatest experiences ever. And
so good, my dude.
Yeah,
so good.
It's great. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like Oregon State. Like Corvallis would not exist without that. And same with where I went at University of Oregon. Same thing. Like Eugene doesn't exist without the college. So
college towns, man. Yeah, they're so fun. Even if you don't agree with a lot of the politics or the college or the people there. Like U of I was home for me when I went there. Like maybe not the first year. It took me like a couple years to get like just assimilated to being a college student, which is like, it's good because there's structure and there's like stuff like that and there's education and all, but it's just like there's such a stigma around college sometimes, and I was just so over like a lot of the frats and the sororities and stuff like that. You could find cool people here and there, but it was definitely like a thing where you're like Greek row and you're like, let's just go snow skating, or let's just go like jump off a roof or something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good times. I ran into this kid named Will, who was a frat guy, though, so he was really good at skateboarding. He probably still is. Super nice, cool dude, but few and far between sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. Actually, it's so funny, though. Probably my best friend from college, still one of my best friends to this day, Kane. He was a Delta Sigma Phi, but the stipulation of that of that frat was a little bit more laid back, like not the partiers, just kind of like the chill dudes. So
got nothing against frat guys and sororities, but
I always
it just wasn't for me. Was not for me.
No, it wasn't for me either. But I've always said, like, if you're looking for like that community and like you want to do those things and have that and party and do, like, it's not a bad idea. But I always found that like I could always like still find the party whenever I wanted to find the party in college. Like, I didn't need to be that crazy.
I didn't need to pay for friends. Like, that's how I felt.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that didn't see it that way, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about your bachelor's degree, and then you also got a master's. Were those were those both in English?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Bachelor's degree in English. So the thing that here's how it came about. My parents were like, just pick something, right? So I picked a degree, and I was like, business. That's what I want to do. Business. Sure. Sounds good. Make a lot of money, right?
Right.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate money. Hate the idea of like going to school to make money. I know that's like counterintuitive maybe, or counterculture,
right?
But hate it. Hated everything about business classes that I only took 1 or 2, but it was mostly general ed and just business classes. And I was like, hate it. The only thing I thought I could do was maybe like doing like HR. Yeah. Like that was the only thing where I was like, oh, I like people, and I could see like maybe being an HR person. That doesn't sound terrible. Beyond that though, I just didn't like any of it, and was like, well, I'm doing really well in all my English classes, which was a first for me. I almost failed out of English. Almost failed out of English my freshman year of high school. So pretty wild. But yeah, so I was like, English, that's where I'm at. I like the creativity. I like the idea. Shout out to Todd Imus, who's this really rad writer who has like sleeves, tattoos all over him. Super cool dude. Just rode his motorcycle cross country, wrote about his travels. And I was like, yes, like that's what I want. I want to be writing, and I want to be traveling, and I want to do all that. Yeah. So total inspiration from him. Kind of got into like creative writing, poetry, like had a stigma about poetry for a long time that I thought was like not cool. And then I got into it and I was like, oh, dang, you can do a lot of fun, like interesting, unique, technical, like poetry stuff that is actually fun and funny and like, irreverent and like, and weird, but wild and fun and funny. And I was like, this is my jam. This is where I want to be. So then I was like, okay, how do I get more of this? So I didn't really discover that until I was like a junior or senior in college, that A, I wanted to be an English major. B, I wanted to like get creative and be a poet, as they say, right? Total counterculture idea of like going to school for that. Right. And it still doesn't make any money, but I love it. And I still write to this day. I still write poetry and like short stories and stuff. That's cool. So I was like, okay, well, I need to be like a professional at this. Like I need to do this. So I applied for a bunch of schools, and I got denied by a few for going to get into a master's program for creative writing. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't my path. Maybe I need to figure something else out. And then eventually I got a call from Cal State Long Beach in California, and they were like, so we'll see you next week. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, because I called them. I was like, hey, like I know I was on a wait list. Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll see you next week. And I was like, whoa, I got in? They're like, yeah, who told you? And I was like, you did, like, just now? And they were like, oh, okay, sweet. Well, you don't have to come right away, but school starts next week. Right. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just, like, quit my job. I was a lifeguard, Sandpoint City Beach. I think it was assistant head lifeguard or head lifeguard at that time. But I was lifeguarding. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just quit this, and then told my boss, and I was like, hey, I'm going to grad school. Like, I got to quit this and go down there. And made it to the first day. College wouldn't even let me in because I had to like get permission. I got accepted to the school, but not the college. And I was like, I didn't even think you could do that. I thought it was like, well, package deal. You get into the school, you also get into the college. You know, the College of English, right? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, then I had to jump through a bunch of hoops. And then they're like, well, you're here, so come on in. I was like, okay, great. Or no, maybe I was accepted into the school of the College of English, but not the school. Weird stuff, man. I had no idea. And then I finally got in, and then I did 2 years there and graduated in 2011. And then that's when I accrued a lot of debt. Still have a lot of debt. Thanks, college. Yeah. But but I have a master's degree now. So that really has opened a lot of doors for me career-wise, and has helped me be able to pay back some of that debt. Hope to get some of that erased by the government at some point, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that all pans out. Chelsea and I have been talking about, like, do we pay off our loans? Do we wait to see what's going on? At this point, pay what you need to and see what happens. Yeah. And then if most of it gets erased or all of it gets erased, cheers. Yeah. You didn't have to pay a lot of money that you didn't have to pay, right? Yeah. But no, I'm still planning on paying it all back someday. Whatever happens. That's my motto, right? Right. Do what you can. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and just live.
Nice, dude. So Cal State Long Beach, what's that? Who's their mascot? Is it the banana slugs?
No, dude, they're I think I have zero school spirit, but I think they used to be the like miners, like, or like Yosemite Sam type character.
Okay. That's funny.
But I forget, man. I don't remember.
You're like, I'm here for the degree.
Yeah, and like the education. It was more about just learning what it meant to be like a professional writer, and then learning about like different technologies and how to use those to get your work out there was also part of it too, and to also maybe go to teach too.
Yeah.
But I teach, but I don't teach English.
Yeah, right. So. I teach, but
I don't teach.
I use some of it.
my classroom is the great outdoors. Like, right. I don't like the stuffy.
Yeah. So did you move back to Sandpoint pretty much right after you graduated with your master's?
Yeah. I had a girlfriend down there, and she and we broke up like on graduation day.
Oh, jeez.
Because she was like, I'm moving to LA to like pursue my acting career.
Okay.
And I was like, I rolled my eyes and then was like, okay, whatever. I'm not moving to LA.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm gonna go back to Sandpoint where I have a job waiting for me already. Like, I was just gonna be a lifeguard for the summer.
Right.
But I was lifeguarding. I was like, that gives me time to like make money, but also like pursue a career. And then I was like, I can substitute teach and like see if that was right for me. Turns out it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I tried. And then I was also like, eventually, I was like, oh, I want to teach snowboarding. I want to see what that's about, because I didn't even think about that until I like moved back. I don't remember how I thought about it or what. I just went like and saw that they were hiring, and I was like, wouldn't that be cool to like work at Schweitzer? Because I had always loved like being up there as like a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But like never really thought about it as like something that was attainable to like go and get paid to go snowboarding.
Yeah.
And I was like, sick, I'm gonna go do that. And it was right when I got back, as soon as I stopped lifeguarding for the summer, I interviewed with Nicole.
Okay.
And she was like, do you have all your stuff? And I was like, yeah, I don't need to rent anything, if that's what you mean. She was like, no. Like, do you have all your stuff? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, can you do like park? And I was like, yeah, I can hit rails.
Okay.
And do jumps. And she's like, you're hired.
Okay. What year was this?
2011.
2011. Okay. And then when I met you, though, you were still living down in Moscow.
Yeah.
And you got a job down there. When was that?
So I did 3 years full time at Schweitzer, and then in my mind I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore full time. I was like, I have my degree, I have a master's degree, I have like I feel like I had so much like education that I wanted to use it, right? Mm-hmm. So I was writing for mountainweekly.com, which was based out of Jackson Hole.
Okay.
Because they just had like ads in like, I want to say it was like Transworld Snowboarding magazine or something like that, where I would just like look it up and like, oh, there's a phone number, and I would call and just be like, yo, I saw that you like needed someone to write like gear reviews for you. And he was like, yeah, I think it was Mike Hardiker. Shout out to Mike. But nice. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'll write gear reviews for you. And he's like, cool. You have a master's degree? You can write? I was like, yeah. He was like, dude, sweet. So I'm just like padding my resume now, right? Where I'm slowly getting like writing gigs, and I'm slowly like, I was a substitute teacher for 3 years too. And so I was like, oh man, like I don't want to be a teacher. I thought about it. I thought about getting my certificate and like being a junior high school teacher.
Okay.
Because those are my people. Junior high kids are sick. Like high schoolers, a little too apathetic for me, but junior high kids rule.
Word. And
so like I was like, sweet. And this was also at the same time when I was doing a front board on a rail or something. The kids would be like, yo, Mr. Nishimoto. I'd be like, yo, what's up, dude? Because I was teaching at the high school and the junior high and elementary schools too in the area, Lake Pond School District number 84. And they were like stoked on me because I'd sometimes bring my skateboard to the school, and I would like do kickflips outside the school with them, like show them how to do flip tricks. And then they'd see me at the skate park too. And so that's when they knew, they're like, oh, Mr. Nishimoto rips.
Yeah.
It's like, Thanks, dudes.
That's awesome, dude.
So just being like, you know, someone who to look up to. Never thought about myself as that until that moment when I was like, oh, like these kids know me and they're looking up to me. And I would help kids at the skate park. I started like teaching at the skate park more and more when kids were like coming up. And I'd be like, you get more pop on that if you put your foot right there and put your other foot right there. And they'd be like, what? I'd be like, yeah. I mean, I never give unsolicited advice, but sometimes I saw a kid struggling and I'd be like, oh man, I got to help you out, dude.
Right.
Like, this is going to change your life. And then I'd show them and they'd be like, whoa, so sick.
It's always cool when you find out like one of your teachers is like a badass. You're like, oh, I don't know, you skate like me? Oh, dude, this is cool. That's always fun looking up to him.
Anytime I got a mean heel flip, so anytime I'd be doing big back heel flips or something, they'd be like, dude, I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, show me how to do that, and I would like show them and stuff.
Yeah. So you were down in Moscow, and you were doing
yeah. So I got a
you went part-time when you started working down there. Yeah. So
I at the time, like I said, I was padding my resume. I started working for Living Local magazine, based in Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, Bog Harbor. And then as soon as I got that job, I started applying for like teaching jobs and applying for like marketing jobs and like all this stuff. And then I got a job interview at the University of Idaho. And I was like, no way, that's so sick. My alma mater. Like I'd be down to move back in a heartbeat. Like never thought I'd move back to Moscow. But then I was like, you know, just prayed about it and was like, dude, let's do this. So, got the job interview. First, you know, did a little phone interview, then went down, and this was around winter. Yeah, I think it was like not a great winter at Schweitzer. It was okay, I think. Maybe the winter before was even better. But yeah, I got a job interview at the University of Idaho, went down there, snagged it right up.
Yeah.
Like my boss was like used to working with an English major and didn't deter him from hiring me at all. And then I kind of had like sort of a few years of just like getting a paid internship basically to learn how to be a professional marketing and communications coordinator.
Dude, so cool.
And I worked at the University of Idaho for 7 years.
Wow.
And then I actually quit teaching snowboarding that season.
Okay.
And then the following season didn't come back.
Okay.
And then I think I was up at Schweitzer for like Wine Fest or Beer Fest.
Okay.
One of the two. I don't remember. But that's when I ran into Matt Smart. And Matt Smart was like, hey man, like, I think like we need you. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, like we need you to come back.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shoot, really? He's like, yeah, we have like a definite need for someone like you to come back and teach on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do it. Like, I'm getting the hang of this, like, marketing thing a little bit, and I can, like, do that too. And if my boss is cool with it, then I'm going.
Yeah. And so you would basically drive up for Saturday, Sundays.
Yeah.
And so run Rockin' Fanatics when it was going on still. And
yep. So 2.5 hours. I wasn't a Fanatics coach for a long time.
Okay.
But a 2.5 hour drive every Friday for, like...
one way.
Yeah,
and
one way.
And then 2.5 hours Sunday.
Up. And then after the day was done, I'd drive 2.5 hours down, and I would just crash at my apartment or house or whatever I was living in.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I remember when you were telling me, like, oh, yeah, I drive up from Moscow. I'm like, dude, wow. Like,
I was dedicated.
Commitment, you know?
I was all in. I was like, I need to learn to get better at snowboarding. And then every time I step on a snowboard to this day, I'm like, I have to get better at this, like, every time. And I learn something new every time I go snowboard.
Yeah.
And then, like, the stigma about lessons waved bye-bye to me a long time ago. Yeah. I have no problem taking lessons. To this day, I'll go and
Seriously,
take a lesson.
Yeah.
If you can teach me how to make riding more fun on my snowboard, I'm down.
Yeah. The great, like, and you'll find, like, those instructors that have been doing it for a long time, like the Matt Smarts of the world, the Martys of the world, my boss back at Timberline, Steve Muse. Like, you just go out and ride with them, they're just always on. It doesn't matter if you're just going to ride and shred, like on the chair, they're gonna be like telling you, like, this, and then you try it and you're like, oh my god, dude, like you just yoded me, dude.
Yeah, dude, I get yoded every day, and my ego gets checked all the time,
right?
Because I think I'm hot snot and I'm not,
right? And I'm like, you know, you try and like keep up with like Matt or Marty riding out on a day, and all of a sudden they're like all the way down at the bottom. You're like, you guys are like almost twice my age, and you're killing me right now.
Killing it.
Just because technicalities sound, you know, like.
I have zero excuses, and that's how I live my life. Zero excuses every time I go out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just got to go get it, dude.
Just got to go get it.
Like, it's always like, and I just laugh. Like, you'll hear people like out on the hill or like in the chair in front of you, or the guys riding next to you, like, oh, I think we're heading home. It's like 11 a.m. Oh, it's all tracked out, it's all done, you know, it's like there's no fun anymore. Like, dude, you like, come on, dude. Like, we have like 10 inches of fresh powder today, and you're complaining about the tracks, dude. Like,
they're just not looking for it.
They don't, like, it's just like they have like their set, like if they don't dive into the trees, like they don't do any like try to explore.
Dude, even that, you can see like lines that haven't been taken from the chair still. There's like a couple areas on different, I'm not going to disclose that information where, but there's a few chairs that even if you just look to your left, you're like, oh, untouched.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hit that.
Yeah, and that's what I do when I'm riding the chair. Like, and I feel like I annoy people sometime. I'm just like talking to myself. I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh, it's like, oh god. They're like, what are you saying? I'm like, nothing. Don't worry about it. Just like, I'm gonna be going somewhere when we get on. And if I'm with homies, they're like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, just follow me when we go this way. Like, and that's what was cool when I came up. I was like, I met you, met Sam, you know, Jenny and Stash, Marty, Matt, like all these people, they were so welcoming, and like, and you and I hit it off right away, and we're like, we just want to go ride, you know, like
there's a lot of people, I
like it all.
There's a lot of people who don't go ride, and you're like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is beautiful out here.
Yeah.
Like bad attitudes,
gotta go.
Just go home, man. Like, this is my like time to go explore and like find joy like in the outdoors, and like bad vibes just can stay away, you know. Like, I mean, if you're gonna complain, go complain to somebody else, because we don't want to hear it.
Seriously, dude. Yeah, that's you know, we had Malia and Zadok on. That's what I love about Zadok, is like the kid doesn't stop. Like, he anytime there's spare time, he's out there. Zadok
probably snowboards more than I do. That's for sure. He kills it.
Yeah, definitely, dude. So yeah, let's.
And Malia too.
Oh yeah, on the skis.
She kills it on the skis.
Yeah, and she's just, both of them just awesome people. But yeah, so you're kind of going back and forth between Moscow. Then I remember, you know, COVID hit. Yeah. Job goes away.
Yep. And it dissolved in like thin air, man.
Josh was kind of figuring that out. You started working as writing again at that time, didn't you? I think you kind of. I remember you were doing a lot of different interviews and stuff, but you did get a local writing gig during that time for Sandpoint.
Yeah, I was back with Living Local, and this time like instead of just like a freelance, I was doing like full-time.
Weekly right?
It was like part-time, I guess. Yeah. But like I was a staff writer at the time.
Okay.
And so I was doing like, oh man, I would go to like local businesses and learn about their business and then write about them and their business. And that was super fun and interesting to me. And then like, I was also doing like some other puff pieces and stuff, and stuff I really didn't think about was like too political, but I mean, eventually it sort of got political, I guess. I got thrown under the bus at least once or twice when I worked there, but
it was a highly political time during COVID.
Well, I mean, everything was, man. Like, and I never really felt that until I started like getting into that industry, but now I'm like, oh, like there's a lot of heat in a lot of ways in a lot of places. But yeah, I think so. Job at the university dissolved, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go do what I know. I want to go snowboarding, right? And so and COVID was different for me than a lot of people too, because as soon as that job like was gone, I was already up in Sandpoint, living there and like working from like my parents' house up in like the Northwest here, and then like also just like for that whole summer, I don't think it was like only 2 or 3 months. No, it was like a full summer. I was just searching for a job the whole summer.
Right.
And I was like, well, if I don't get like a full-time gig, then I'll teach snowboarding. So I taught snowboarding full-time, and then also was writing part-time for Living Local magazine. And then eventually, I just wanted to get my like level 2 and be like because I had my FS1, my freestyle level 1, and then I had my like level 1 teach, and then I was like, I want to get my level 2. So at that time I was like training like for it to like get good enough, like physically, mentally, like all the things, right? And that's when you were starting to like get your level 2 stuff down too. So we were trying to get like going at it at the same time. And then because I was full time, like I do thank God for this. Like not having another job gave me I get to ride every day during the pandemic. I was outdoors. I was wakeboarding and wake skating in the summertime. I was outdoors like all the time doing stuff and not hanging out with a ton of people, but just have like a core like group of people that I would hang out with.
And that was the time where you were roommates with Nolan, right?
Eventually. Yeah. So at first I was like moved back home, like still paying rent, you know, but moved back home. Because my parents were like, responsibility, and you're like, that's fair. I like didn't pay rent for a few months, and then my parents were like, if you're gonna live here, you got to pay rent, and I was like, totally fair. Let me pay rent. I don't know if it was much, but it was something.
Bills go up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like paying rent, helping pay for groceries and everything, and then like the second, I don't know if it was a full season of snowboarding. I think I moved there in the fall. Before it even started, really, that's when I started living with Nolan at the beginning of like when the pandemic was at its like height, and that's like before even the vaccine was even out yet. Yeah. And we had to be all masked up for everything on the mountain. But as soon as you got away from like people, masks come down, smiles go up, and you just go and shred.
It was so interesting watching the rest of the country go through COVID, and if you know you live here in North Idaho, or if you've heard of like how things are here, it leans one way, and so it was a lot more lax here, and I think that's why the influx of population happened at that time as well, because people were just like, okay, I want somewhere where I can still just like do me and like live my life and not feel like I have to mask and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, Idaho has like hardly any restrictions right now. We were so lax with that.
Yeah, and then in this state, the floods came of people.
Seriously, working remotely, buying up property, like.
And then teaching was great too, because people were just so happy to be outdoors and not like socially distanced properly, but like not having to have a mask on while you're teaching them how to shred. They were stoked.
Yeah.
Tips came in like huge. Most money I've ever made on tips
was that time. Yeah.
And then I also worked a ton because there were so many people wanting to learn how to snowboard.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like skiing's fine, but I don't care to do it ever.
No.
So I was just I've never made money. I've either come out even at Schweitzer or I've made like a little bit of money, but nothing ever. I think I actually made a lot of money that year. Probably the most money I've ever made at Schweitzer.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think I would probably agree with that too. I wasn't working all that much, but the times that I did work, it was like people were generous. You would get work, and yeah, it was a very.
And then we're training, right? We're training to like level 2 teach and ride, and then when we rode, dude, like we were the top riders in that group. I felt like as far as just like general, like, well, you know, we knew the mountain, and just having like that hometown knowledge helped a lot for like PSI, ASI level 2 stuff, right? And then like I think it just clicked, man. And I was like riding the best I've ever ridden at the time, and was just like, sweet, I'm gonna get my level 2.
Yeah. And for the listeners, we've mentioned this before in the podcast with Marty's episode, but basically, if you're an instructor, there's a governing body. Skiing is PSIA, Professional Ski Instructors Association, and then AASI is, was that the American Association of Snowboard Instructors? We call it Aussie.
And dude,
to make fun of it a little bit, but it is it is a interesting thing. You know, basically you can get your level 1, which is
pay to play.
Going out.
Pay to play.
Yeah, basically if you can teach something, like, you're good. It's very lax.
If you can give them some money, they're going to let you have it.
Yeah. Level 2 is a little more in depth. You actually need to like have knowledge, be able to teach knowledge, and also be able to ride really well, technically sound, and they need to be able to see certain things in your riding. And if you don't get that, then you don't get it.
Dude, it's
level
tough.
3 is a whole nother level. You need to be able to do all the things that you do in level 2 and do them switch. And you also need to be able to improve something with each person in your group as far as teaching. Like, you can't just teach them something. You need to improve their riding, and they need to be able to see that. So that's kind of what the ultimate goal is getting your level 3. And then if you choose to go, you can become even higher. You can become a clinicianer, which is basically you get to lead your group at your mountain, you know, in clinics. And then examiners are a whole nother level where you are the one actually testing people at those exams for their level 1, 2, and 3. So it's a very in-depth thing, and it's a lot of fun. I love teaching. I always have. It's just, I always tell people when they're like, what should we do at the mountain? I'm like, well, what do you want? Do you want to sit? Do you want to get a lot of hours and sit in a shack? Do you want to like get tips? Like, what do you want to do? I'll ride. I'm like, well, then you should be an instructor. Like, if you don't care too much about the money, but if you're available, you should get an adequate amount of money, and you're always on your board. Even if it's skating around on a flat, it's still fun, dude. Like, you make it fun. Like, sometimes those are the best times. It's just like going around skating, teaching them how to edge, and it's a lot of fun.
Honestly, like, I almost love teaching more than I love snowboarding sometimes. Yeah. And it's like about the best thing in the world when there's something that you can do very well that you can pass on to a different generation, or even someone older than you. But like, just being able to, like, when someone learns something while I'm riding with them, it's like I did that too, you know? It's like I get that high, like, oh, light bulb, boom, clicks, we're good now. Let's go shred. Right.
All right, let's, I'm going to check cameras right quick and make sure we're all good with those. And then we'll get back to it. All right. Sick. Yeah, dude, this is good. Oh, nice. We've been talking for a good amount. Over an hour.
Yeah, I can talk, man.
I love it, dude. This is smooth. We're going smooth right now. Yep. Loving it. Loving it. Everything's recording.
Tight.
Oh, dude, we're killing it. Yeah, we're good. Sweet, dude. Oh, that ran out. Whatever. That's funny. All right, man. Cool. I'll do another clap real quick, and then we'll get back into it. Love teaching more. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. We're going to get into probably just a little bit more of things at Schweitzer. Maybe some hot takes, some more snowboard nerdy stuff, some rapid fire, and then we'll probably start shutting her down, dude, for sure. Cool. All right, so let's go. We'll do the claps. 3, 2, 1. All right. Cool, a little break there, and now we're back. So, first things first, dude. I need me a liquid death right now.
Ooh, liquid death.
Pop that. There we go. Love it.
So
Love to
crisp.
hear it. Yeah.
So crisp.
The best. Something that you actually did. How long ago was it that you quit alcohol?
So it started out with, like, I don't know. I was just bummed out at the U of I for a little bit, like, working there, because it just felt like there was a lot of changes happening, and, like, none of it was very organized, and I felt like I was being a little lost in some whitewash shuffle, right? Where it's like, I don't really have a solid footing here, so I'm just going to do my best to do what I'm going to do. And I was like, you know what? Like, during this time, I'm going to, like, where some people might go to drink, it would drive someone to drink, right? You're like, oh yeah, I gotta take a cold one because I had a bad day at work, you know?
Yeah.
Well, now I was like, I'm gonna do the opposite of that. I'm gonna not drink and just like lean into any pain or happiness or any, like really feel my emotions and not mask anything and just see how it goes. And so I quit drinking for a whole year, probably like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I really like that. So then, and then I was like, great, I can drink a little bit here and there still. And then I did that for like, you know, as soon as I was probably drinking a little bit during, you know, as soon as the job dissolved, they dissolved my position at U of I.
Yeah.
And I drank a little bit here and there, but not like a lot. And then I think it was that summer, like after it dissolved fully, I was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink anymore. I'm going to fully lean into it the other way and just be like, I'm sober now.
I remember like there was a night out that you went out with Nolan, I think.
Oh.
And you were like, the next day you were like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
well, so sick.
I really hadn't been drinking at all.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wasn't against it at the time, but I really wasn't drinking much at all. And then like I went and partied with Nolan.
You guys went out to a concert at the festival, right?
It was My Morning Jacket.
Oh, man.
Which is the most generic rock band in the world, I think. And but they were free tickets or something, or like they were really cheap. And it was like you have to have your like vaccine card to get in. So nobody went. And yeah, it was me, Nolan, and Nate Holland.
Okay.
And
Nate.
I don't know if anyone's partied with Nate before, but that dude parties.
Oh yeah, him
hard.
and Pat. Yeah.
Him. I don't know if I ever partied with Pat too much, but I definitely partied with Nolan and Nate, and it was probably the most alcohol I've ever had in my life. And it was a good time, no lie, but I think I was sick for like 3 days in a row. And it was at a point where I was like, I can't ever do this again.
Ever. No.
I'm done.
And for the listeners, we're talking about Nolan Smith, a legendary ski instructor at Schweitzer, also
legendary
restaurant owner in Sandpoint,
was a restaurant owner in Sandpoint. Now he works up at as a bartender at Sky House.
Yep. So he's been at Schweitzer, been Sandpoint pretty much his whole life, and kind of is a local legend. And then we were talking about Nate Holland, and he also has brother Pat Holland, crazy legendary snowboarders. Pat Holland raced board across in the Lake Placid Olympics. I mean, done some big things.
Nate's highly decorated, winning snowboarder, right? And then Pat's no slouch himself, X Games and stuff.
Awesome, yeah. Dude. So that's great. I recently in the last 2 weeks also have sworn off alcohol. Just doesn't make me feel good. And you and I have kind of bonded over the Liquid Death. So
cheers to Liquid Death.
Cheers. Shout out Liquid Death. Love Liquid Death. Helps a lot with those nice carbonated waters.
Yeah.
Instead of those beers that I was so fond of back in the day. But
dude, and then if you can get over the fact that you're not drinking beer anymore, you can still have a good time.
It's so true, dude, and it's just you feel so much better about yourself.
Oh man, I'd say my abilities
seriously
skyrocketed after I stopped drinking.
Yeah,
I got way better at snowboarding, way better, like consistent, and just for me personally, it was a personal choice. I do not have anything against anybody who drinks. I think I've had some of the best times in my life drinking a beer, and with my dad, or going out and partying with Nolan and. Nate, wouldn't take that, away from me, would not just poo-poo that. I thought it was the best ever. But for me, personal choice, can't do it anymore.
Yeah. And if you look at Chris Grendiesel from the Bomb Hole, swore it off. And not like he wasn't doing big things before he swore it off, but if you look at his outlook on life and how successful he is with that bomb hole now, he knows, everyone knows, you're a better person, you feel better. Alcohol can be, the devil in some ways.
In some
for
ways,
a lot
man,
of people.
For a lot of people.
Yeah. So
and it's like everybody's got their own cross to bear, and I don't have a lot of issues in my life, but I didn't want that to be one of them.
Yeah, and it's so true. Yeah, dude. So kind of talking about, you know, we went over like how you kind of came to Schweitzer, what's been going on at Schweitzer lately. Schweitzer's been going through a lot of changes lately. We got bought out by Alterra.
Yep.
The other season, part of the Icon now. You know, big things are happening up here at Schweitzer and up here in northern Idaho in general, and I think it's awesome. And I just kind of wanted to ask you, what's kind of your plan? Because, you know, you have your job. You recently, in the last few years, left Sandpoint, which is hard to do because Sandpoint's awesome, and just kind of made the trip, kind of moved down. You know, it's only, you know, 45 minutes away in Coeur d'Alene, but what's it been like for you, you know, being in Coeur d'Alene these last few years? How have you enjoyed it?
Dude, Coeur d'Alene is great. Like, I always saw it as like a drive-through town between Moscow and Sandpoint.
Yeah.
But like, just like living here, currently with my girlfriend Kiki, just, you know, we don't live together, but she and I are like chill, and we work at the same place. We work at the Salvation Army Croc Center, and Salvation Army Croc Center is super dope community center with like pools and hot tubs and like fitness, good place to work out.
Yeah.
Like I said, fitness is in my genes. So
right.
Like me being able to work at a place that like is all about like mind, body, spirit, health, love it. Everything about it I love, but getting to be a marketing communications coordinator there is like the greatest job in the world. Like, I've done like so many things, from photography to like helping with like creating videos and commercials and audio commercials.
Right.
And like, I learned how to do photography on the job, and they even paid for me to like take lessons and like go to NIC for classes and stuff too.
Right.
So like totally like helped me with my marketing skills, and just like seeing how I can, like, anything they need that I can provide, I jump in and do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need that? I got you. You need me to drive a bus for like 14 kids to go to this camp? I'm there. Like, hook it up. You need me to get certified in CPR, first aid, whatever? I'll do it. Like, I'm just there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool place. Super awesome. You and I have done some early morning workouts there.
Yes. I work out every day there.
It's
and
great.
It's super nice.
Well, it's just so cool. You're around that entire vibe the entire time. And like you said, you were on swim team. I was on swim team for the longest time when I was growing up.
And water polo. I played water polo for 2 years.
That was one I wanted to do, but we didn't have one at my high school team, so... And it was always so funny. My swim coach, I was on a club team. Yeah. And my shout out to Suha Tokman, 1972 backstroke relay Turkish Olympic team. An Olympian, and he was my swim coach at a club in Medford, Oregon. He was one of the coolest, literally one of the biggest influences in my life. The guy had a talk with me. I was really obese as a kid. Had one little 5-minute conversation with me. Lost like 80 pounds after that as a kid.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and to this day I always try to go see him. He's still coaching swimming down there. Like, he's been doing it for 35 years. It's crazy.
Very cool.
But yeah, you know, swimming. But he would always get so mad when water polo season, because all his best swimmers would go do their water polo season at their high school, and he'd be like, "You can't come to the meet this weekend. I need you."
You're like, "Nope,
nope." Water polo.
Play polo.
It was hilarious, but yeah, water polo is sick, dude.
So got a soft spot in my heart for water polo. My senior year of college, real quick. U of I taught water polo as a class, like a PE class. And I wrote up the curriculum. Dude. And I like made sure to get all the nets and everything set up every time and get all the balls. And then I would go and teach. And like after the first day, every single girl dropped out of my class. And I was like, oh, did I just make it like seem too hard or something? But like, I don't know, man. But like water polo is not easy. Yeah. So I didn't want to like sugarcoat it for anybody, but like, man, I think like that's another thing why you and I are like in sync sometimes with like snowboarding. It's like we know what it's like to like have hard endurance sport. Yeah. You know, like swimming. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You get up early and you go and you swim. Yeah. And it's tough and then you're tired, but you just keep pushing through it, and then you get breakfast and it's nice. I used to always love, like, it was really like
it was a cool thing for my family and I to do, because during the summer and the winter, you know, you have your indoor season in the winter, outdoor pools in the summer, and it was almost like just a weekend trip. You know, we would go to our swim meets, so much fun, hang out all day. Probably always get like
swim meets or parties.
Yeah, it would either get a hotel or camping and go camping with the team.
What?
Everyone would get campsites at a place. My favorite meet was Mount Shasta in Northern California. That was the sickest meet ever. Like, and there was also one in Reno that was really cool.
What made it so sick?
Because Mount Shasta was like right there. You look up and the mountain's right behind the pool. And then we would always camp at Lake of the Siskiyous, kind of just west of the town of Mount Shasta, and it was an awesome campground right on the lake, and it was like we all had fun. It was a super good time. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, super cool, dude. So yeah, so Schweitzer today. You know, are you still gonna be? You're gonna be teaching on weekends, right?
Yeah. So Fanatics on Saturdays, and then Party Marty Andrews just asked me to be part of the Northwest snowboard teaching crew.
Yep. We finally have a snowboard team at Schweitzer now. Marty Andrews, a few episodes ago. Check out that episode. He talks about it more. But he's running it with Adam Hall, Pat Holland, and one other guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah, doing big things. And they're gonna be doing some awesome stuff. The Hall, Maddie Hall is gonna be on there, and I also believe Zadok is gonna be running, Calvin, all these local riders that we're talking about right now that rip, that are coming. Sick. They're coming. The snowboard scene up here is getting big, so that's awesome to see. So yeah, you're gonna be. Fanatics is a program that's been at Schweitzer in the ski school for many years, which is kind of. What I would say is like it's more. Marty always thought that the Fanatics program could be extended, and that's what this team is kind of embodying. Is once you get to a certain age, Fanatics is over, but you still want to be part of that weekly team and stuff. So the Snowboard Northwest was born, and now we got all those kids that came up through Fanatics that are killing it, going to be on this team doing competitions all over the Northwest, which is super sick. So
fun. Check
out Snowboard Northwest on Instagram. We'll put that up here for you guys to check out. But yeah, dude, let's get into a little bit of some hot takes. All right, so what is your go-to trick in the park that you're most comfortable with, that you feel like you could just like lay down in your sleep off a jump or a rail?
Oh, like front threes.
Front three. Yeah. Front three. Nice. I like it, dude. Let's go with, are you a earbuds in or out guy?
Oh yeah, silence is golden, man. There's no earbuds going in these ears when I'm shredding.
Okay, just listening to nature.
I think there's a musical theory too about snowboarding, and when my edges are hitting just right and I'm cruising just right, it's magic.
Yeah, definitely. Let's say who is your GOAT as far as it can be who you think's the best, or just whoever resonates with you the most when you were growing up, male and female. Like, who are you just like, oh, this person is the king or the queen?
Whoa. Dude, I don't know if anyone knows, but Bryce Lovren is like my best friend, and he kills it at skiing and snowboarding to a point where just like any trick he can do both ways, any direction, ski or snowboard, doesn't matter. I seen the dude do a 900 skis. I seen him do a 900 on a snowboard. Just flawless style, execution. Bryce Lovren is the GOAT.
Nice.
Bryce Lovren.
Hell yeah. I love it, dude.
Female? Dude, I don't know about female too much. But let me see.
We just put up on Mountain Vibes yesterday. Jamie Anderson is back on her board.
Well, Jamie Anderson's sick, so I could say Jamie Anderson. There's a lot of professional snowboard girls that are just killing it.
Dude, like they're coming, dude. Like I feel like.
But Jamie Anderson's been killing it for a long time.
So long. so long.
I'm gonna say Jamie Anderson,
and she's gone up against Zoe. I'm looking forward. I hope that Jamie's back in the X Games this year in slopestyle. So I would love to see Jamie, Zoe, and Mia Brooks all just like go ahead, like just go after it.
Jamie Anderson, GOAT.
Let's go. So for Josh, what's the perfect day of riding look like for you? Where are you at? And what's the vibe?
Dude, who are you with? It's anyone who just wants to go shred, man. Like anyone. And as long as like we're about the same level, I'm always good to go, man.
There you go.
Like even if they're not even on the same level, it's like as long as you can go on like some blue runs or whatever and just have a good time, I'm always down. Green runs too. Like Schweitzer's bunny hill is like the best bunny hill in the world. And I would take that lap now, especially now that we got a high-speed quad going.
Yeah.
Easy money. Just go shred that hill.
Yeah.
All the bumps, all the jumps, all the flats, all the
little side cat track.
The cat track. The
Dan Stefano special is what I call it. His line that he takes, he's like, he goes back up the hill.
Sick too, by the way. But his lines are insane, and he rules on all terrain. Dude's an ATV.
Yeah, he is. And he's also a kick-ass wildland firefighter chief
who tells me all about why we're not going to have a smoky season or not, the man. Or if we will.
Stefano, if you're listening, you're coming on this podcast soon, dude.
Stefano needs to get on the cast.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so so if you had a bucket list item, like someplace you want to go ride.
Japan. Okay. Japan.
Going to Japan, and if you had to pick one person, who would you take?
Bryce Lovren.
There you go. That's what I thought you were going to say.
So that dude just slays all terrain in his way, and he's so just chill with it. Best style.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. All right, here's one more little bit of a hot take, and then we'll run some rapid fire, and then let's what's the worst trend in snowboarding right now? Something you see out there where you're just like, that needs to go away.
Anyone who this sounds like I'm hating on beginners, but anyone who sits down to buckle up anymore is a speed bump, and you need to stop that. And that's why me and someone like Dylan is here to teach you how to not have to sit down and buckle up. It's like and then anyone who's like making like overproduced gear to like combat that, stop.
Dude,
like straps work. They work forever. They'll keep working. Yep. There's like some cool stuff out there. Like not gonna hate on like
the step-ins
from Burton or whatever. Like that's cool if that's your jam.
I will hate on the clues.
I will hate on the clues.
Those are the worst.
Those can just...
I don't need a horse stirrup while I'm walking around the village on my foot.
Yeah, just go in the dumpster. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn how to like ride and put your bindings on, or just stand up and put your bindings on like a big boy or big girl, I'm down to teach you.
Yeah.
Because that needs to go.
Yeah, we're a couple of old heads. We like the traditional two-strap. Ankle strap, toe strap, boom. And it's a staple in like you said, it's a staple in my lesson. If I teach it every single time.
Every time.
I teach people like, hey, here's a trick on how to get in standing up so you're not getting soaked all day. Like every time you sit down, your gear gets more soaked. Yep. And you just have a miserable time.
Miserable.
And then having to get back up, like... when I fall on a run, like it's hard getting back up. Like I'm just like,
So like there's a time and place for everything. There's a time to sit down and strap in. There's a time to not. And I'd say 90% of the time, just don't sit down.
And if you are going to strap in sitting down, please get off to the side of the hill.
Don't sit in the middle of the run and
you're blocking everybody. That's why skiers hate snowboarders sometimes.
and a lot of people hate snowboarders because they don't like beginners. And I totally understand that. But like there are ways there are ways.
And skiers, you know, I just kind of went on your side, but I'm still not on your side. You guys need to chill out. Just like be cool with people, because snowboarding is different than skiing, and you need to like let people like learn instead of just being like, in the way.
Yeah, like, skiers need to chill out. Snowboarders need to chill out. We all just need to chill out a little bit, and just remember, like,
we're all sliding down a hill on pieces of wood.
We're all just trying to have a good time.
We're all trying to be dumb and have fun on snow.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. All right, dudes, a little bit of rapid fire, okay? This one I've been waiting to ask because I know that it's going to be tough for you. Skate or snow?
Skate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The first one.
It's all about skateboarding, man.
It all started from skating.
That is my roots. That is where I always come back to. I'll go teach my Fanatics kids how to snow skate, and then when they get on their snowboard, they're like, oh, this is easy now. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, because skateboarding is stupid hard. Yeah. And if you can get even just a modicum of like goodness out of it, more power to you. Right. Like, snowboarding has its place. Skateboarding is forever. Right.
Pants or bibs?
Depends on the weather, but I'd say if it's warm and wet, bibs.
Cool. Goggles or glasses?
Goggles.
Pow or slush?
Oh, slush.
Sick, dude. All right. Cool. All right, man. Well, if there's anything, if you want to shout anybody out or anything, and if you have anything going on, just now's the time, man. We'll wrap it up on that.
Dude, shout out to my parents' original sponsors. Shout out to friends, family, girlfriend Kiki. Shout out to anyone who supports snowboarding and small town snowboarding, and anyone who's ever supported me. I thank you. If I've ever done anything bad to you or anyone you love, apologize.
Word. All right, man. Well, with that, we want to thank you guys for tuning in.